There you go.
Okay, this week we had Paulo on. Edis kind of got him, brought him on, and I guess
I met Paulo through the guy that I work with, Mihailo, and he owns company Kingdom Builders here in London. Specializes in concrete, and he's also a full-time pastor.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's something that I didn't see this conversation. Not that it went any way, but it was really good and a lot of good insight and advice, and just to hear his story. The winner from last week's t-shirt giveaway, Comfy Sweats,
9538.
So we'll get in contact with them. Same thing goes with this episode. Just comment 6 p.m. on the YouTube video, and we'll just pick a random.
Make sure you subscribe. You got to comment and subscribe.
Yeah, we'll pick a random comment, and that winner, that person will get a shirt. So, really good episode.
Hopefully, you guys enjoy.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
One time.
Yeah.
So my background, I started when I came to Canada 20 years ago, what the first thing, what you can do.
Yeah.
Well, construction, no? I'm, from what I know, I'm 4th generation carpenter.
Okay.
So my grandfather, he was carpenter, and it was always in my genes that.
Yeah.
Now in 98, my family, we immigrated to Argentina. So I born in Ukraine, and then I immigrated to Argentina, and the family kind of seen the hard work, in construction. Then, they always try to persuade you to not go into construction.
Right.
So if you have parents who are in construction, they're like, oh,
don't do this.
Don't do this.
It's
Go
hard
and
work,
study
hard labor,
and work in the office and all that stuff. And
But you think that's even their main objective? Do you have children?
I have.
Would you tell them not to go into it, but then
no. I would
low-key
actually
want them
tell
in
them
it?
go into
Yeah.
it. There's
Yes.
money in
Yeah.
it. So,
Right.
Yeah. So sorry to interrupt.
so it's fine. I'm kind of gonna jump up and down, but going from that topic, I used to work with a lot of Portuguese guys through the union, if you know of Labor's Union.
Yeah.
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 Town
Of course.
59. And they're all aging now, and now, okay, I worked there in 2010 to 2015, so for 5 years. And at that time, they were old,
Yeah.
and kind of struggling to work.
Yeah.
Right.
And their children were lawyers and engineers and all that stuff. And that trade just stops at that generation.
Yeah.
So in London, we have shortage of skilled guys.
Of course. Yeah.
And now the younger generation is picking up, internet helped a lot.
Yes.
Even for me, I do some research, okay, how do I finish concrete this way? What
Right.
type of stuff they using?
Right.
But where I'm going is the previous generation, they work hard. We don't have to work that hard. We have the tools.
Right.
They didn't.
Right.
Now they done an amazing job with the opportunities that they had and with the tools that they had.
Yeah.
And the quality of work
the
was
quality of
really,
work, yeah.
really good.
And we have lost a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Ask any of the framers in town to do hand cut roof,
Don't
and
know
they'll be
how-
like, oh,
What does that even mean?
yeah, okay, trusses. And it's no, can you do it?
Yeah.
Can you frame stick framing
Yeah.
or do balloon framing?
Right.
They have no idea how this can be done. But what I'm actually been speaking to the younger generation, my wife, she teaches in high school, and sometimes I have an opportunity to go to the events and, talk
Yeah.
to the young kids as a figure, kind of a little bit older, and maybe I
Right.
can influence them.
For
And
sure.
I always say, listen, there's no shame in trades. I have friends who are engineers.
Yeah.
They go to school, there are 4-6 years of engineering school to make what? $80,000-$90,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 years of school and $300,000 of debt, and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Now, if you put 6 years in construction, if you start at 18, by the age of 24, you're making your
Yeah.
$80,000-$90,000, and if you're smart
More.
and you can get your business going, listen, you are making double of that if
Right.
you want it. So
Is it because people don't want to work that hard
um,
anymore? Like they're kind of hit that point where they got complacent, or
I think there was some type of campaign on the previous generations where they said, you know what, if you work hard, then you are not smart.
Right.
yeah,
But I choose to work hard.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid,
Right.
but I choose to work hard
And
because
hard
I
work
like
pays
it.
off too.
I like it.
Yeah.
You know, the resilience on the body. You feel alive.
Right.
You know, my dad, he worked until he was 72. He worked full time in construction.
Yeah.
And doing hard work. Like, I don't know when he's 72 years old. My father's-in-law partner, business partner, he actually worked until 77.
Wow.
And he stopped doing concrete just because he was diagnosed with dementia and progressed quite quickly. But if not, he probably would still
Would
keep
still
going.
keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, so stuff like that. So going back to my story, 1998, we immigrated to Argentina, and my parents was like, you should not work hard. Let's find some jobs. And we got to know some people, and they're like, hey, you should go and try to be a jeweler. Jewelry, installing stones. So I was like, oh, it's a cool job. You work inside. Dude, like, I was struggling. Like,
Did you try it?
Oh, yeah. I worked for, I would say, about 4 years on that. I started working when I was 15 years old, full time. So I actually never finished high school. I never been to high school.
Crazy.
Grade 9 in Argentina, and then grade 10, 11, 12, that's their high school. So I never been to high school. I did go to college, though,
Yeah.
afterwards in Canada. But so I started very young.
Yeah.
So I've been working. I can, I'm
For
turning
sure.
41 this
Yeah.
year with 26 years experience.
Yeah.
of
That's a
work.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I could be retiring,
Yeah, but you'll probably work till you're whatever. Can't.
70. Yeah.
Yeah,
until you
I
can.
probably would work
Yeah.
full time for a really long time.
Yeah.
But I always struggled in that stuff because I didn't like to be inside. And then I had an opportunity to come to Canada, and then the first thing, when you come to Canada, what's the easiest job to find? Construction.
Yeah.
Because all your acquaintances are in construction. So that's kind of how I started my construction career here in Canada. I did discover many talents that came naturally because, there is such a thing as like talents through your genes that you have through your ancestors.
Yeah.
And I would kind of recommend for the younger generation kind of to study on that.
Yeah.
Because many of those talents come just through generations and you don't even know that you have them.
Yeah.
Then all of a
that's
sudden it's
interesting.
like, oh, I actually like this.
Yeah.
What did you, when you started construction, when you came, was it just like, let's just start here because I know it's a good starting spot and then I'll kind of figure out what else I want to do afterwards? Or was it like,
I loved it.
yeah.
I started as a framer in Oshawa when I came to
Nice.
Canada. So why I came to Canada, I came to study in Bible college. So on top of doing the construction, I'm a full-time minister.
Wow.
Some people's like, so full-time and church minister and full-time construction, yes. For me, one thing doesn't stop when the other starts. It's basically everything intertwined.
Yeah.
I can go to a client's home. A few days ago, I had a site visit and came and spoke about the job and measuring, and then the conversation keep rolling, and then I'm finding out, well, this person is lonely and she's just like pouring out her life, and she just needs someone to hear her and to listen. Now, will I get the job? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't care, but I
Right.
was able to help someone in the
Right.
community, and I think that's kind of the difference with kingdom builders is, yes, we make money. We are not non-profit.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm really focused to what can I do a difference in the people's life. A few days ago, we were just down the road from here. We were doing some reno and fixing some deck and refinishing the decks. And for me, when I'm doing jobs like that, I'm already seeing what it's going to be used for, the family gatherings and people,
Right.
clients will
Yeah.
be like, hey, can you finish to this day because I'm going to have family
Yeah,
gathering.
yeah.
See, that's kind of brings the different amount of passion to construction when you're seeing is like it's beyond the dollar amount.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I like to make money. But beyond that, I like to not burn bridges, first of all, with the clients. But second of all, to see families to enjoy the product of my hands.
Yeah.
Not to be just like, oh, hey, okay, we
Thanks,
just done it
here,
here.
yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, wow, man, I charge them so much.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes I would try, I'm actually, it's like, okay, I need to check what do I need to charge because I want to end it up when I finish the job, not to be the cheapest guy, not to be the most expensive guy, but at the same time to be fair.
Right.
Fair for my work and fair for them, and for them to enjoy, and not to be
Right.
like, man, we just wasted all this money and
For,
it
like,
didn't work
nothing.
out and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So
And because that probably does happen a lot, right?
Yeah.
People are just money hungry.
yeah, like for
Too
me,
often.
sometimes, or to be is like so hungry to get all these jobs that they price so low where you cannot even compete,
Right.
and you know that they will rip off.
Yeah.
Right. Because like I find what happens a lot with these they will just undercut everybody, get the job, and then they'll probably do the job and get halfway there, and then they'll tell the clients, hey, we want more money. And then the client is stuck with an unfinished job, and now it has to pay somebody else or them to finish the job, right? So that's what the play is, and it's just like I find that very disrespectful and unfair, and it just puts a bad mark on the general construction business, right? So
On all the trades,
Right.
like for me as kingdom builders, for us, very important, we do turnkey projects. So we
Yeah.
don't do just like, okay, let's give an example. Like I just was faced last week actually with one of these type of jobs. Client calls me and says, hey, can you come and finish up this job because the company came in and changed the patio door and they just left it. They just changed the patio door, literally changed the patio door. And I was like, okay, what? She's like, well, all the drywall is ripped and casing is not installed and painting and it's all unfinished. And we've been living like that for months. And for me, it was like, first of all, like you need to communicate that number one. Like when you hire someone,
Yeah, absolutely.
make sure like how much are you going to do? Okay, if you're not responsible for A, B, C, D, like if you're not, let's give an example of the windows and doors, replacement. If you're not responsible of doing the inside work, the carpentry work, then can you recommend someone?
right.
Or for the client right away to be like, okay, let's look for the company who does all the job,
Right, the whole thing.
the whole thing. So
Yeah.
for us, that's what we try to do. Like we try to do finished product.
Yeah.
And all these things come through the experience. So in Canada in this last 20 years, not only I worked with the union and learn a lot of skills through those older gentlemen from Portugal and different places.
You learn tricks,
I learned the
all
tricks
yeah.
and all that stuff. But as well, I framed houses, and this is back in the GTA and Toronto area and Oshawa, and that's where I framed quite a bit. But when I moved to London in 2010, I had an opportunity to start working later on for different builders. And what I was finding out that even like when you purchase brand new home, it's not finished product.
Right.
The home is finished, the sod is laid, and then what?
Right.
So I'm really pushing for some of the builders to go into turnkey project. When the client moves in, they don't have to worry about that patio, that deck, that fence, the trees, whatever hardscape, landscape
Right.
that wanted to be done. Why we don't offer the full packages?
Well, a lot don't, or none do.
For me, unless it's like a condo.
Yeah.
But if it's a single home, there's not been offered that much.
Wow.
And for some clients, so that's where the issue where I was finding out as a site super. So I work for Forever Homes. My latest two builders were Forever Homes and Millstone Homes, two very renowned builders in town. And where the issue, what I was finding out, that the clients would buy the home, they never budget about that because it's not in the package.
Yeah.
Right.
So now all of a sudden you move into the new home and you're like,
Oh, I gotta have to
okay, I
spend
have
X.
this fence. Okay, let me talk to all the neighbors, and maybe I can get this fence done for 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, depends on the lot size.
Right.
But again, let's say 10 grand.
Yeah.
Now you're for the hook. Now, if you could add those 10 grand to your mortgage, you
Yeah,
might
for
be
sure.
able to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I was discussing with some of the builders and developers this things like why not, and then you look at the neighborhood. It's a brand new neighborhood, and you have like different styles of fences, and someone 6 feet, someone 7, some it's like
10
crazy.
feet. Yeah.
It was like, dude, like
It's a wall at that point.
it's not appealing,
Yeah.
But I think where we can go in the future to start offering turnkey, and that's basically with Kingdom Builders. We try to do that. Ask me what I did yesterday.
What'd you do
What'd you do?
yesterday?
I was planting trees.
Oh, nice.
So we had this one project just down the road from here on Dundas Street, where we did concrete walkways, stamp. We did fence. We did curbs. We didn't do the asphalt yet. I never done it asphalt, but like if I ever done it asphalt, I probably would do. But and the client was like, "Can you plant some trees?" Yeah, sure. And then, can you paint some lines on the parking spots? And then the last one was like, "Can you paint some numbers?" Because you have to number. Like it was hard to find stencils in town.
Wow.
There's no stencils anywhere, or you get like very tiny ones.
Small ones. Yeah.
I had a solution. I always say, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. So what's the solution? Just print on a piece of paper and then cut it out.
So is it like, do you enjoy, but I imagine a lot of people might not enjoy doing like all the different tasks as far as like other trades guys, right? Like,
I enjoyed it.
yeah, which is like separates it and makes it that much better even for the customer at the end of the day.
Right, because you deal with everything. I mean, same with us, right? It's like you're not just hiring, you're not doing a project just to do the plumbing job, right? You're not, like different aspects of that specific job. When you hire someone like him or us or whatever, it will be like we take the whole package and we do it all from start to finish, and then that's it. You only deal with us, right? And then that builds the relationship with the customer.
Yeah.
And then down the road, that customer will give you even advertisement word to mouth, because, if you don't burn bridges, you're not trying to screw them over. You're literally trying to help them and build what they want and make them happy at the end of the day.
See, the issue where we are facing as the younger guys, I still consider myself young, even though I'm turning 31 this year. Mid-age crisis. Already had a bike. I already had a motorcycle. Never rode even once.
That's like this guy. He keeps his in the shed too.
I give it away to one of my, I call a spiritual son. So basically in church, it's a one mentor. So he had his stolen. So I'm like, okay, here's the keys.
Yeah. Take it.
$4,000 bike. I just loved him that much. He was a great guy. He actually works in construction as well. But where I'm finding out for us, a younger generation, we step in and we want to succeed. We have to be, to make a difference.
Right.
What else can I offer that others, my competition, does not offer? Okay, because everyone could say that they are doing the best quality.
Right.
Okay, so, like sometimes it's funny. You drive on town and you see the names of the different contractors. Best contractors. It's like, how can you compete with that? It's like
he beat everyone to it.
He's best contractor. It's like, or
Very
whatever.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah, very best. It was like the best of the best. The best. So I'm finding out, even for us as a Kingdom Builders, we've been in business now for 3 years. This is our 4th season. We just turned into the 4th season. What can I do that others neglect to do?
Yeah.
I want to leave the job site better than when I came in.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, some jobs, like the one we did on Dundas Street, and those who are watching us from that know London, it's a very nice part of town.
Yeah.
With a lot of different characters
For
and
sure.
individuals. And again, a lot of them, they might not choose that lifestyle. It's hard for people who are displaced and kind of to come back to full life. Not everyone wants to be there.
Mhm.
And some of them, they have a hard time or a hard way to get back.
Right.
The substance abuse, sometimes, it slows you down and kind of you get depressed and you're like, okay, you got into that dark hole and
Yeah.
you cannot get out. You see, when you stumble, sometimes, you hit your foot, okay, you stumble, but you didn't fall. Okay, you still keep walking. Sometimes, you can fall and you can get out, but when you fall into a hole, you need a helping hand
Yeah.
to get out. Kind of just giving an introduction for something what I wanted to share from my heart. Like, we just done it not long ago, a project. It was a community project, all fundraised by us, full given to the community. Sometimes we do these little projects. We done it quite a bit for financially supported in Africa and different countries, but this time I wanted to give to the community here, and we did some restoration, remodeling on a shower facility in Exeter, Ontario,
Oh yeah.
inside of a church, which one of my friends pastors there, and their shower was leaking. So we redid the whole shower. And
Cool.
one of the guys who's been temporary displaced person, that's how you call the homeless.
Yeah,
They're
fair.
temporary
Okay,
displaced
yeah.
people. Politically correct. I learned from my wife. My English is not that great. She had to teach me. But he took the shower and he said, I never been in this nice shower in my life. I felt like royalty.
Yeah.
So where I'm going with this project in Dundas Street, we start this project like garbage everywhere. It's like needles everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Not
Bad.
bad. But you know what? We cleaned it up the site before we start working.
Yeah.
And when we left the site yesterday, we took all the garbage with us, like spotless.
Yeah.
Even the garbage that people dropped
Right.
already through
Right.
this
Right.
time. And I think that what makes difference when you can be taking care of every project as your own.
Right.
This is my house.
good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When you take pride of that, I think it will pay off.
Yeah.
Eventually
absolutely.
will pay off.
Definitely. Whereas in some guys would just leave it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even care, right?
Yeah.
They just go, it's like, all right, time to go home. Friday, see you later. Right? And just leave everything.
Like how you said, Friday, see you later. Like, what about Saturday and Sunday?
Right.
The family is there. They want
Right.
to enjoy their deck, their
Right.
patio, their front entrance.
Right.
So I think that's what's gonna raise some companies up against others. Again, not talking bad about the companies. It's just some do better job with
Yeah.
that
Right.
service,
Right.
some not. So
What do you like doing the most? If you could like just pick one thing to do forever, what would it be?
pastoring.
Oh, really? I didn't expect that. Yeah.
I love the most pastoring.
How long's it been? Like, has it
So-
always been part of your life?
So it's kind of interesting. It goes all the way from the time I was in my mom's belly, in my mom's womb. My mom lost 3 kids before me. So between my older brother and me, there's 10 years difference.
Wow.
And we are people of faith. and my mom prayed when she got pregnant with me, and kind of dedicated me to God still inside of her belly. If you know a little bit the Bible, if you're not familiar, there was a story of this prophet who was in Israel. His name was Samuel, and his mom had kind of similar situation. She couldn't get pregnant. When she got pregnant, she prayed to the Lord that she wanted to get pregnant, and she was granted to be pregnant. And she said, "I'm gonna dedicate this child to you, God." So kind of similar situation happened with me. Now this is 1984. There is no ultrasound in Soviet Union yet. Maybe in major cities, but not in this town where my parents lived. And while she was pregnant with me, she said, "Oh, it's going to be a boy, and I'm going to call him Paul or Pablo." Kind of like Saint Paul, if you know the saints. So she kind of saw for my life to be in ministry. Now, ministry, when I say ministry, some people kind of relate right away to religious act and all that stuff. Ministry itself, it is serving people. So she kind of dedicated myself, still without my decision, but she kind of like, I want my son to serve people. And I think that's the highest calling that you can have in life, to be, I want to be a servant. I don't want to be served. I want to be a servant. And I know some, we have a lot of things publicly, a lot of the evangelical preachers and all that stuff, they kind of feel that they want to be served and all the prosperity stuff. But for me, that's kind of how I felt my whole entire life, to be serving people, just seeing a difference in people's life. I feel for our country. Again, I'm Canadian citizen, but I've been immigrant two times in my life, so I can relate to different nations and different ethnicities and different cultures. But how can I make a difference in someone's life? Recently, we had one individual to come to our church again, because I'm a pastor. I enjoy pastoring. And this guy, he was going through a very hard time. One of his best friends, he messaged me and he says, "Listen, I want you to meet my friend, his name so and so on. For confidentiality purposes, I'm not going to share the names." But he said, "Listen, he's going through a tough time, and he's on a very dark hole, and he needs someone to help him to get out." And he had suicidal thoughts. He was on the verge of taking his life because he couldn't see farther. And I said, "Hey, listen, just bring him to church, or if you cannot bring him to church, can I meet with him? Can I have a coffee with him? Something. I just want to meet with him and just kind of try to persuade him to love life." And I'm a preacher, so I can speak for hours. But in a very short period of time, with few meetings with him. Now, again, I'm not licensed counselor and all that stuff. I'm just a guy.
You're just a guy,
Just a guy. And, just conversation. Nothing about religion, but even just, he's in construction as well. Kind of what you do, how you do it, and kind of relating, and kind of brought him, okay, now he has another friend. And now it's been 7 months, and the guy is still alive, number one. Changed his demeanor, his face, his aura, or his appearance of the face changed just because he encountered people who are full of life. See, you will become who you hang out with.
Absolutely.
If you hang out with people who are full of life, you will become full of life. That would be evident. You see. Remember during COVID, they were like, "Oh, you should be hanging out with no one because you're gonna get infected with the COVID virus, blah, blah, blah." It's like, yeah, that's how it works. So is with life. If you hang out with people who are full of life, you will eventually become full of life. If you hang out with people who are, kind of negative and all that stuff, you're gonna have a miserable life. For sure. So your environment is really how we build our life. It's very important who you hang out. If you are seeing that the environment is not bringing any, maybe I'll speak a little bit churchy, bringing any blessing to your life or any benefit or betterment, let's use that word instead of blessing, betterment for your life. That you're becoming more successful in your decisions and in your life. You're feeling your life becoming, I want to use this word, a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because not everyone who is successful, okay, we measure success with money, but it actually should be in money. The success should be wholeness.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So when you feel whole, satisfied, how you say, it's like, what satisfies you? Like,
Yeah.
what do you enjoy doing? It's like, I enjoy pastoring.
Yeah.
I enjoy speaking to people's life and try to persuade them to choose life,
Mm.
to see the positive in everything. If I will speak the church language, to see Christ in everything, to see Jesus in everything. Jesus Christ is not a swear word.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, he is a person,
Yeah.
is still alive, very alive today. And he dwells in many people, so you can see in their faces Jesus Christ. So that's kind of what I enjoy. So when I came to Canada, I actually came to study in the seminary to become a pastor, a minister of gospel. No, not a priest, but kind of priest too. So a little bit different definitions. And through the years, I served on a different capacities on the church. And in 2019, through the series of the events, I was kind of selected to become a pastor of this one English church. It's called the Ministry Company.
Is that what brought you to London?
My wife brought me to
Oh,
London.
nice.
But later on, again, I met my wife in church. I think that's probably one of the best places to meet your spouse, because when we meet our spouses, it's you find someone who has things in common with you. So, like, if you like sports, most likely you're gonna meet someone on a sport event, or someone who is excited about the sports as well. If you like other things, so that's kind of you try to find a person. Some say it's like, the opposites attract. Yes and no. I'm not saying you have to love the same food, same music.
Right.
That's kind of weird, but you should complement, but still have a lot of common things. When I do counseling with the young adults and teenagers, when they are in that verge into stepping into the relationships, I always say, like, listen, cultures don't really matter, but they do. Like, again, I'm Ukrainian, no? So I like to eat borscht and, eat salo, if that's pig lard.
I don't.
Pig lard and all that stuff. But, like, for me, it would be very hard to hang out with someone who's, like, let's say from China, and they like to eat their type of food, or,
Right.
I don't eat dogs and cats. Oh, sorry, I just said that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where I'm going to is through the series of events. You want to hear about what was the event that brought me?
Wait, hold on. Okay, so just for I'm gonna do like a kind of a soft end, and then this will keep going. The full episode will be on YouTube.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for the first portion is going to be on Rogers TV, so you can just tell them about your construction and or like your business, where they can reach you.
website,
Your
or anything like
website,
that?
So
anything.
you guys can reach us at our website, thekingdombuilders.com.
Yeah.
No, that's CA. Is it that CA?
Either or.
Oh,
Either
whatever.
or.
And like I said, we'll keep going, so everyone will you'll be able to continue
you can
listening
find
on.
us there. We have the website, we have Facebook, Instagram is the Kingdom Builders Official. You can see our logo. We post cool stuff, and we
Awesome.
build places, and we build people.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay, so tell us now. What
Okay.
brought you to?
Yeah.
So
The event.
2019, in May 2019, I was working as a site supervisor for Millstone Homes. And as a site supervisor, people think it's like, oh, he's the guy that drives the truck and doesn't do nothing. It's like, no, he's the guy who actually picks up all the,
Slack.
cleans all
And
the
comes on a Saturday and a
feces.
Sunday.
yeah.
Cleans all the feces, literally. So I had to clean feces literally this one day. And this one house, the sewage got blocked, and I'm cleaning that stuff, and we had a little explosion of human excrements.
Yeah.
Now I had the whole gear and all that stuff, but I forgot my safety goggles. Safety goggles are very important.
Oh my god.
So the things exploded in my face. I had the mask, but dude, like,
Oh.
and it got and got into my eye.
You're
And I
like,
got-
I'm going to London after that?
no, I was in London already. So I got very sick.
Really?
From that?
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but
Yeah, I got very sick. I got very, very sick. Basically, the bacteria from that attacked my liver, and my
No
liver
way.
stopped
Oh,
working.
what?
Yeah. So May 2000. This is mid-May 2019.
and
like-
throughout the whole process of you getting sick, you knew that's what it was from. Like, it was obvious.
Well,
Did doctors,
I kind
like-
of had to go the diagnosis myself with a lot of stuff. So it happened on Wednesday morning. I wasn't hungry whole day. Wednesday night before Thursday early morning, I was like, I'm throwing up. I called in sick the following
Were
day. I
you
was
like, I can't tell anyone this happened?
well,
Because
yeah,
of like,
that's embarrassing. But
what was your wife like, honey, what's wrong?
So-
and you're like, yeah, nothing, I'm fine.
so the Friday morning when I woke up and I went to the mirror and I looked at the mirror, I'm like, my eyes are yellow. I'm all jaundiced. I'm like, oh, this is not good. Call my family doctor. Again, it's a miracle to have a family doctor in Canada, but even to have a cell phone to your family
Yeah,
doctor, that's kind of relationship we have with family doctor. And she was like, okay, come to the office right away. We'll do the blood work. So I came Saturday morning, did the blood work. And they called me like 2 hours later. They're like, okay, we contacted Victoria Hospital. So-and-so, he is GI specialist. He's going to see you on Monday, first thing in the morning. You're going to have ultrasound, this. You're going to have like a whole bunch
Yeah.
of things. I was like, okay, what's going on? So I show up to the doctor and they're like, okay, there's something wrong with your liver. Your liver actually is not working at all.
Wow.
Now, picture this. It's me, my wife, and a 5-week-old daughter at the hospital in front of the doctor. He sees that my liver is not working. He doesn't know what medicine to give me because they never seen stuff like that happen so quickly. And
Wow.
they just send me home with no medicine and tells me, it's like, I'm going to see you on Wednesday. And make sure before you come in, you're going to do the blood work. And make sure you're in isolation. And make sure you don't come into contact with no one. So, yeah.
And
So
you're
comes
just like,
Wednesday,
okay,
comes
type-
Friday, the same thing. And they're like, we don't know what's wrong with you. All the biopsies, all that stuff. Your liver is not restarting. You're only 35 years old. And they were afraid to tell me that I was dying.
yeah.
Wow.
Like literally. And so what happens through all those days, like, okay, my faith kicks in, just praying to God. I was like crying to God because I was like, why you give me a daughter at this age and for me to leave the earth at the age of 35 and she would never get to know me. She would never hear the stories and all that stuff. And I prayed, and all this process happened about 5 weeks. And I remember like the 4th week, I really felt him coming to the room. I was in isolation and he came to the room. And that day I felt there was something different. So then when we went to the doctors, they're like, we don't know what happened to your liver. It just suddenly started working. So you got healed. Like literally, I have all the medical reports saying that I was dying.
Wow.
Like he was afterwards when I got well, the doctor was like, I was afraid to tell you that you
Yeah,
were
I can
gone.
imagine.
That's
Yeah.
why we send you home to die.
Wow.
So God healed me. And when I saw all that stuff, again, some people can say, our bodies are so resilient and they can turn around. Yeah, they can. I'm not saying no, but for me as a man of faith, the one who created it was God. So he is the manufacturer, so he knows how to fix me. And literally, my pastor at that time, he was praying to God to say to whom he would hand the church over because they were moving to Alberta. And he said to me, he was like, I saw all these things happen to you and this miracle happen in your life. And I believe that you've been the chosen one to lead the church. So that's how I started pastoring the church that I pastor right now, the ministry company church at 1541 Fancha Park Road East, Sunday 12:30.
Yeah.
What a story, man.
Wow, that is wild.
So I've seen it a lot of miracles in my life and the people around my life. My son, who is 11 years old, well, turning 11 this year, he spent a lot of time in the hospital and he died 3 times.
Wow.
And God brought him back to life. Once he was dead for 23 minutes.
No way.
So don't tell me
What?
there is no miracles happening right now.
Yeah.
23 minutes clinically dead.
23 minutes clinically dead and nothing wrong with the kid. If I would bring him to the podcast, he would be a funny guy. He speaks like an old man.
That's funny.
He actually loves doing animation and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I've seen miracles.
Yeah.
And not just because I read something on paper or I heard from someone physically.
Yeah. You
I had
lived it, yeah.
I had a worker at Kingdom Builders.
Yeah.
We had an accident at work, all reported and all that stuff, but he fell and he hit his head very hard and he died.
Wow.
And I went down and started praying and he came back to life.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he
freaky.
came back to life. So he ended up in a hospital, and it was quite away from our town. We were working on a project out of town. And when we ended up in the hospital, they said, okay, 2 vertebrae are broken. He might be paralyzed. His hematoma on the head is like, if it goes one way or the other, he won't be speaking. He has cracked skull. His 2 ribs are broken. The shoulder is all ripped. And you're going to spend at least 3-4 months in the hospital.
Wow.
And we ended up in the hospital, and I was like, why we are here? So I started praying to God just to see, it's like, God, what you doing? There's other things in this story. God kind of arranged things. I met some pastors previously who lived in that town and who told me, it's like, hey, if you're ever in our town, you can come and live with us as long as you need. So when this worker ended up in a hospital, I called him. It's like, hey, I'm in your town. This is the situation. They're like, come to our house. We'll partner in prayer just to see a miracle in this individual's life. We ended up in a hospital on Thursday morning.
A week later, he walked out.
You're too long. So Thursday, we ended up in the hospital. Friday afternoon, the doctor calls me, and it's like, again, 3 CT scans confirm all these conditions. And they were like, okay, he's not going to walk. Friday afternoon, the doctors called me. They're like, can you come to us? I was like, okay, it will take me some time. They're like, okay, let's talk on the phone. They're like, we did this last CT scan, and we don't see the vertebrae broken at all. We're going to take the collar out of his neck. When I came that evening, we were able to go for a walk like the following day on Saturday. On Sunday, we walked about 10,000 steps for 3 hours with this individual. And on Monday morning, they told us to go home because they're like, there's nothing we can do in critical care for him. And he is too well to be on the ward. So why are you sitting here? Go home to London.
Yeah.
So, and while there, again, this is pastor speaking now. We'll differentiate a little bit, which is there's no difference between Pablo as a kingdom builder, because I am kind of kingdom builder, or Pablo, the pastor of the ministry company church. While we are there, this is Friday night. I'm like, okay, God, I know you're doing something, because I'm seeing that there is miracle happening in this individual life. By the way, that's my brother. It's not my worker. It's my brother, who was my worker at that time. Yeah. And this one lady that was right beside him laying there as a patient, and I asked her, I was like, hey, listen, I'm a pastor, may I pray for you? And she's like, oh yeah. I was like, how can I pray for you? She's like, well, my blood sugar is very low and I've been in hospital for the last 4 days and they cannot figure out how to bring my blood sugars up, and I didn't sleep for the last 3 days. I would like to sleep. I just did a small little prayer with her, and I just said, God, it's like you see her need, and I know you just healed my brother, so I know you can do it for her. Can you do it? And amen. In Jesus' name, amen. There's not a magical way to say, well, in Jesus' name. Okay, so it's going to happen, but it's just, simple prayer. And we are still talking to my brother, and all of a sudden we hear her snoring. The following morning, when the doctors came to check on her, they're like, hey, your blood sugars are normal. Can you go home? And she's like, okay.
Please.
So, but it didn't end there, because it's like, for me, it's like, okay, why we are here at the hospital? We're seeing just the miracle happen. The other person is happening. So I was like, okay, it must be for one more. And that night there was another patient in the room, older lady, very fragile, in her 80s. And we were sitting with my brother just chatting and drinking some tea or whatever. And I said to him, like, I feel this lady is going to die tonight. My brother's like, hey, you know what? I'm afraid of dead people. Like, I don't want to be in the room when someone dies, like, freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, by the way, he had the phobia of funerals. Like, he never been to a funeral until he was like late 30s.
Wow.
He was just afraid of funerals. Something like, even when the grandpa died, he wasn't there because he's like, I'm afraid of corpses. There's such a thing.
Yeah.
Too many of horror movies, maybe. So he was like, hey man, can you pray for her so she will die? And literally, like within 20-30 minutes, her blood pressure drops. All the machine starts beeping, like she is crashing. All the doctors come into the room. So I'm like, okay. Now I felt that she's gonna die that night. So I'm asking doctors, like, may I pray? Like, you do what you do, like, but may I pray? They're like, dude, like, do whatever the heck you want to do. Like now I'm kind of revisiting that memory. It's like, man, that kind of felt really strange. It's like, this guy's like, may I pray? It's like, yeah, whatever. Like here, they're doing compressions on the lady. And I just prayed and was like, God, like, you give me this perception that she's going to die. This is not a coincidence. Could you give an opportunity for her to be alive again? There is something probably unfinished. And they were able to get her back. The following day, when we came back from that long walk of 10,000 steps, how did I know? Apple Watch. Maybe I had Fitbit at the time. Remember Fitbit?
Oh yeah.
It became very unpopular
Real
afterwards. I
quick.
could not see. It's like now everybody's. Did you close your rings today?
Oh, dude, I'll tell you about our day after this. I needed you today. I got a story after this one.
So when we come back, we see her daughter and son-in-law there, and I'm start sharing the story. It's like, listen, this is what happened last night, and I had this perception. So I'm like, I don't think it's a coincidence that God granted her at least one more day of life. You need to make amends. The daughter starts weeping. She's like, thank you that you prayed.
Wow.
That's...
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm someone special on that, but it's just to see people thinking that there was someone that could pray, that could bring a life back to the person's life. And it's like, that's basically what I would say. Kingdom builders, the people who bring life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sorry, I get emotional.
No, I understand.
Like, this stuff, it really touches my heart. Like, I started Kingdom Builders in 2022 because individuals from Ukraine started coming to my church and they needed jobs. I enjoy pastoring.
Yeah.
Dude, like, if I could do that all day long, I'll do it, man. Like, I enjoy being with people, just sharing, building faith, kind of restoring hope. And they're like, man, we need jobs. And I was like, I don't have a job. They're like, well, but I said to them, let's pray. And we started praying, and 2 days later, I get a phone call from someone, and he says like, listen, I have this deck to build, and I know you are capable. Can you come and do it? I was like, okay. I'm like, okay, there's some type of work. I was like, how big? And they're like, a small one, 1,600 square feet. Where? Grand Bend, right on the lake, right on the beach. So that was our first project, 1,600 square feet
Of deck. Wow.
right on Grand Bend, and that's how we started. And then we started with 2 workers. Now we are at a high point with 8 guys, sometimes 6 guys full time. This year, full time 4 guys.
Awesome.
Even through the winter, I had 2 guys employed full time. Winter is always
winter is
Yeah.
always
season.
slow. Yeah,
but,
definitely.
Is it your goal to just add, or do you have a certain size you want to kind of grow to, or is it perfect where it is?
You
or?
want me to be honest? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I don't know. Like for me, I'm not ambitious to grow to certain size. I don't think I ever gonna let go of tools.
Yeah.
I don't see myself, going at 10 o'clock in the morning for a round of golf. Now, I do love golf. Don't get me wrong.
We should go sometime.
Yeah, we should go. Like, I didn't go for like years. Probably COVID was the last time I
We
went
should.
golfing.
Yeah.
But I'm just open to where God will lead us.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm seeing this year when we can run 2 crew, it financially it brings quite a bit. Like it did, I would say, exponentially supply more wealth to the company when you start running 2 crew or even 3 crew.
Right.
Now, I'm working more this year than ever, physically and hourly. This last 7 weeks has been 70 hours a week.
Wow.
The owner of the company works 70 hours a week. It was hard for me to wake up before. Dude,
Now you're
like 6 o'clock. I'm like, okay, let's go. It's just because you feeling the weight of
Other people.
For me, I'm supplying for their families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying it's like, we are all family. It's like, no, we are not family, but I'm responsible. For the longest time, for the last 3 years, only like the last month, we hired a young guy, but our company, the youngest guy was 35 years old. So, like, these are not guys
These are men.
These are men who have families
yeah.
who want to supply. They don't have, they don't play games until 2-3 o'clock in the morning. They try to
Right.
wake up at 7 to go to work.
Yeah.
These guys want to provide, and we've been blessed. Again, I am all about giving opportunities to younger generation, and I have a young kid working with us right now. Very hard working guy, 18 years old. Puts two bags of Quickcrete on one over one shoulder, one over the other shoulder, and I don't know many 18-year-olds that
Who can do that?
can do that and have stamina to do that. I do want to raise up younger generation, those who want to learn the trade and skill and all stuff.
Does your son come to any of the job sites?
Oh, he is the professor. I'm seeing my daughter running the skid steer and
that's awesome.
excavators and all that stuff. My son, he is a professor. He is all mama. My wife, she's a high school teacher, so he is all about, even though
Academics and stuff.
Yeah, kind of very creative,
Yeah,
but he's a professor.
What else do you do outside of those 2 things? Like any other
So,
hobbies, sports? Like,
okay, my hobby is pastoring.
yeah,
I love that. I sports, play soccer. We started this group about 3 years ago. A little bit, not about 3 years, like 2.5 years ago, with the Ukrainians, because a lot of Ukrainians, when they start coming, because they're fleeing the war, the women, they are very organized. Did you find they will have like tea groups and knitting group and
Yeah.
gossip group.
Yeah.
Sorry, You can cut it off.
No, and we have nothing. It's all scrambling everywhere.
Yeah, but like the man, it's so hard to get guys to come together and do something.
Yeah.
And a lot of men, they would just, they just lock themselves at home.
Mm-hmm.
What you gonna like watch movies, watch TikTok,
Yeah.
have to finish concrete or have to build decks, and I started communicating with some of the Ukrainians. This is part of our like I did a lot of volunteering 2022, 2023. Dude, like we done it a lot. I was working full time and still moving couches, picking up household items. Like literally I would get phone calls. It's like, oh, are you Pastor Paulo? Yes. Like, are you taking care of some of Ukrainian families? Yes. You guys receive donations? Yes. Well, my mom just passed away in Port Stanley and we are selling the house. Can you come and just take everything out of the house? Do you?
What are you gonna say? No, like.
Oh, I would say yes.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
We will go and then we will just fill it up the church with all these items. And like our church was not the only one who did that. Like many did. Like you need to understand that at the highest point, we received in London region about 25,000 Ukrainian individuals.
Wow.
So it's like, let's say easily we can say 10,000 families.
Yeah.
Now, London region, St. Thomas, all the way
But
to
still,
Stratford.
right, yeah.
I physically met probably around 300 families that we were like bringing stuff to them, or they came to church to grab stuff. So during all that stuff, I meet a lot of people, and I met this one individual. His name is Victor, and he was like, "Hey, dude, like I like soccer. Do you have soccer here?" And I was like, "Wow." Oh,
But we should.
we should, So he was like, okay, let's organize where we can play. It's like, okay, let's go check BMO. It's like, oh, we found some spots to play there, and we actually started doing that. So it's like,
Oh, cool.
that's one of the hobbies or something that I do outside of church and construction, soccer, something that kind of brings together. Fishing.
Yeah.
I discovered fishing last year.
Yeah, nice.
I love fishing.
Me too.
You see, I didn't like before because I never caught anything. But like as soon as you get that, even if it's sunfish, but sunfish after sunfish, you get 10, 20, 30 in one night. You get that rush.
Yeah, you're like, it's like,
yeah,
I'm coming back.
So it's like, okay, let's go buy the most expensive
Everything.
Rods, everything,
rod and all that
lures.
stuff. Because you see, like even here in Canada, with all my friends from Ukraine, we had this, when you start working, you start having some money. Like it'll be like, okay, let's play tennis. So we go and buy like the most expensive rackets, and we play for 3-4 times. It's like, okay, let's do something else.
This sucks.
Yeah.
Then let's do paintball. So like we go and start buying all the gear for that. And then I remember we all signed up for to get hunting license. Oh, now that's a big game, So we did all these courses, all the stuff, and then it's like to get the licensing, all that stuff. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
So I really gave up. It's like some didn't, some still did all
I'm
that
just
stuff.
gonna go check.
Yeah.
Yeah, just see who's over there.
Yeah. So this is who Paulo is.
Yeah, and now you got a farm too, right?
Now I got a farm, and I'm actually like, my wife just complimented me this afternoon. She's like, you never like to work around the yard, and now you spend all the time at the farm. She didn't say what's wrong with you. She's like, I actually like that.
Yeah.
So we are looking forward for this new chapter in our life, as maybe a little bit of homesteading.
Yeah. Because your plan is just to live outside of the city on a farm and just have your own.
Yeah. You see, I'm not a very apocalyptic or doomsday person, but it's still, in our DNA, there is that part that kind of takes us to the earth. We want to be living off the earth, and during COVID, that actually showed the vulnerability that we have. So think about when we live in the city, if something happens with the water pumping station, we are doomed.
Right.
There's no water.
Right.
That's it. Like if you remember COVID, again, I'm pastoring already during
Yeah.
COVID. So I started pastoring in September 2019. 6 months later, March
COVID.
2020, it's COVID. And you would be surprised how many people would call people from the church would be like, we ran out of food.
Wow.
Because remember, for the
Yeah,
first
there was
2 weeks,
nothing on
Yeah,
the
it was
shelves.
just like-
Everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
everybody's panicking. They're like, we have no food. But I had perception of things that would happen, so we actually stock up.
Mm-hmm.
And I had individuals who called me. It's like, do you have toilet paper? Because we ran
That
out.
was like the biggest thing too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. So that's kind of. I always wanted to be on a farm. I don't know farming yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to learn. I don't know if I'm gonna go like crazy, like buy a cow and like goat
Chickens
and all that stuff,
and-
chickens.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot of responsibility. Maybe later on.
Right.
I do have a pig farmer across the street, so
You can live vicariously
and,
through
and
that.
I got my hunting license just in case. You never
Yeah,
know.
You never know.
Meat
yeah.
prices are very high.
I
You
know.
know,
Right.
all legal. One deer per tag.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been meaning it. We gotta get. Have you been out hunting yet? Or anything
I
yet?
went hunting. I was never successful yet, but I think that
It's
that
coming.
Soon.
soon it's coming. It's like
Yeah.
fishing,
Yeah, yeah.
that rush.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how I'm seeing as we going very like talking a little bit politics now. We going on quite globalization right now and interdependence and all that stuff. And interdependence, we are losing our freedoms now because we are so dependable. Like when you live in the city, you are dependable of the power company to supply the
Power,
hydro for you,
yeah.
the electricity. You're dependable of the gas company. You're dependable of the water company. But what about if something happens and some malware or some attack to the grid,
Right.
AI revolution, robots, zombie apocalypse. We all joke that stuff, but now we are seeing it's more and more evident. Now again, I'm not a doomsday guy. I'm
Right.
not apocalyptic guy. I'm not gonna build a bunker, even though I can now. If someone wants a bunker, just click in the building. We'll get it done. And put some sod on top. Nobody's gonna know. But I feel that we need people who will be able to supply essentials. Survival skills. We are not teaching our kids survival skills. The schools are so focused on training good workers and listening individuals,
Yeah.
employees.
Yeah.
We need to start kind of developing a new generation of people who are actually will be having critical thinking, not just to solve the task of your company, but critical thinking to solve the task of challenges that you're going to be faced with life. The anxiety, it's on the rise. Their mental health, it's
Depression,
been,
yeah.
declining quite strongly. But I think, like for me, when I go to the farm, even I catch myself. It's like, man, it's so peaceful here. It's quiet, and you reconnect, you re-energize. Did you ever been at 11 o'clock at night and going through the field of corn and you feel the dew,
Right.
like it refreshes, like
Right.
walking barefoot on freshly cut grass, like dude, like that experience. I think naturally it's in our DNA
To want
be
that.
there,
Yeah.
and that's what brings wholeness.
Yeah.
Besides religion, beside faith walks, but it's just connecting with creation. That's basically will bring wholeness. And I think if more and more we would be focused with our generation, with people who are going through mental health, it's actual, I think. I'm not denying those things. Like there are medical interventions who are very positive, but it should be as well connected with the nature as well. So like instead of being like, okay, take this pill, take this medication, no, go for a walk,
Yeah.
get out of the city, go
Get
to
some
the
fresh
beach,
air.
sit
Yeah.
sit at the beach, listen to the waves, kind of breathe. Last year we were fortunate to go to PEI with my brother. We were moving a family from our church that moved to New Brunswick, and then I'm like, man, we are right there by PEI, 3 hours away. Let's go, dude. Like it's different life.
Yeah.
Like I know we are not living there, but it's just sitting there and seeing the sunset, smelling the ocean.
For
like,
sure.
It rejuvenates
Yeah.
you. It gives you that stamina to go more.
Right.
Mhm. It's like living by the mountains or something, you know.
Right.
It's like even if
Yeah.
you're in a city, but let alone, not.
See, again, I'm turning always the circle kind of comes. Okay,
Right.
me as a pastor, as a person of faith, I'm all about restoring people's life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's what actually minister is. Like you see, when we see some people is like, oh, your church's name is weird, like ministry company. It's like, what type of business? It's like, and they would call me. It's like, is this a ministry? Because think about the ministry. What did that word actually means? It's a place of service.
Yeah.
Ministry of transportation. It's a service to transport. Ministry of health. It's a service to healthcare. So I'm kind of seeing that as like, if I'm a minister, I wanted to minister to people around me. How can I bring restoration? Can be a shower for someone
Right.
who will be like, man, I felt like royalty.
Yeah.
And that individual will be changed forever,
Right.
because of that experience that they had. And I think, again, I'm not looking forward to change the whole world, but one at a time.
One at a time. Yeah.
One at a time. I look forward to speak to one person. Some ministers or priests or pastors, they would love the crowd. For me, I'm not. I actually enjoy more one-on-one.
Yeah.
Now I can speak to the crowd as well,
Right.
but if I can make a change in one person's life, I accomplish everything in my
Well, you
life.
should have done that to him today, because this guy got
Me and Edis, we'll finish after this. Me and Edis went on it was supposed to be a 140-kilometer bike ride. So a buddy of ours was like, "Oh, I'm going out Saturday," and we're like, "Oh, I was like, oh, well, come, Edis, you're coming." And it was it wasn't a hard fail, but I had to drop out at a certain point. But
because his legs just cramped up like crazy. I've never seen anything like this. He literally couldn't. He froze and he couldn't walk anymore. Nothing. And it's just like, that's it. And
See, that's again, like, how can we take care of our body health-wise? No, we are seeing, again, global warming. It's such a thing. I'm not saying I'm not anti-global warming. I'm not the crazy guy environmentalist, but yes, we are seeing that it's heating up. Now there's waves. There's going to be global freezing as well. Don't worry. It's
Right.
coming. Get ready. But we need to take care of our bodies.
absolutely.
And sometimes it's just being very proactive. Like, again, you can be drinking water all day, but you need to electrolytes.
yeah,
Sometimes getting a Gatorade is good too.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Oh, man.
it's,
We learned that the hard way.
And then secondly, before I gotta show you out back and get your opinion on a possible half basketball court.
okay.
Concrete pad.
Yeah,
Sure. We
I
can do
want to
that.
see what you
Yeah.
think or what my options
We can
are.
take, like, downstairs is a gym too. Like, we can take you around the gym just to show you. It's actually pretty sweet.
That's pretty good.
Mhm.
Well, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you. And if
I know I speak a lot.
no,
but
it's like it's nice for us for
Yeah.
sure. I like it, but I'm sure you have lots of outlets. But if you ever something that wants to bring you back here, feel free and
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
door's
let us
open.
know.
If you think about topics, we can talk about different topics. I'm not saying that I know everything. Like,
You're very versatile.
the older I get, I'm just like, man, I don't know things. Like,
Well, if something pops in your head and you're like, this
yeah,
would be a good discussion for here,
See,
note
like,
it down. And
I had this is months ago. We had all the pastors and ministers in church, they met with of our city. We met with our mayor, Josh Morgan, and they were raising an awareness about homelessness in our town. And the church is like, okay,
Temporarily
how can we
displaced.
provide spiritual
Yeah.
guidance, and all
Temporarily
that.
displaced.
Temporary displaced people, yeah. And in the city is like, this is what we are giving them as housing, all that stuff, and different programs and food supplies and all that stuff. And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, man, there's missing something. And I'm one of those guys that will be like, okay, I'm gonna hear all these sides, but there's something brewing inside of me. It's like there's missing something. We need to, like, what is missing? What is missing? Because like, we are, as an individual, we are part. There's a spirit in us, that spirit of life. If you have faith and if you believe or not, but like, there is a spirit of life. When you die, that spirit leaves your body, and there's the body, the physical part, and there's the third part, which is the soul. This is our emotions. This is who we are. This is our individual. This is our feelings. This is who makes you be you. And they're talking about the spiritual part, talking about this spirit. The people from municipality, they're talking about the physical part. And I'm like, just missing that part. And surely enough, they're like, okay, we just have time for one question. If anyone has a question, it's like, yeah. They're like, okay. They know me. And I'm like, we talked about this and great, but we missing something. And I feel we missing, because you see, homelessness is not about your physical location. It is sometimes it's a mindset. You can be homeless and surrounded by people. You can be homeless and having a home.
Right.
It's just you feel this emptiness inside of you, and you basically, homelessness is it's basically the way how I understand, because I was on the verge of homelessness. It's like I don't belong anywhere. Because you see, home, it's a place where you belong.
Right.
This is where your family is. Again, some people have a bad experience with the family, but it's a place where you belong, where you accept it, when you desired. Like, this is, we want you, and I actually start sharing that again with the politicians, with the city officials, with all these pastors of our city, and I said, it's like, our approach to people who they're like, oh yeah, they all got shipped from Toronto here and all the cities because we are the sanctuary city. We don't want them here. I said, that is the issue. It's not about the encampments. It's not about them living down the street. We don't want them. And because we don't want them, they will remain where they are.
So what's the solution? Like,
What's the solution? Let's rebuild their individual, their persona, their identity.
Yeah.
See, having identity is beyond than just having a passport or having driver's license or having ID card. Having identity that you are valuable. You are valuable. See, when we read the Bible, again, the pastor now speaks. When we read the Bible, we see through the whole book, it's all focused between the relationship of God and the person, the human. That God wants to have a relationship, and he does everything possible to bring himself closer to the person. The person always kind of feels that they don't measure up to be, so they try to appease God. Now, if I do this for him, maybe he's not going to be angry with me. And God is like, no, I want to have this relationship with you. And they're like, no, but like, I have to kill all these animals so then you can be happy with me. And they're like, no, I don't want these things. I just want to be with you. But like, there's like, okay, but if we do these rituals, then God will accept us. It's like, no, I don't want that. I just want to be with you. Yeah. then God sends his son, Jesus Christ, 2,000 years ago. And I can preach the whole message of the gospel, but I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say, his purpose was just to reveal God's desire to be with us. God did not kill his son just because he was hungry for blood or something like that. Very wrong understanding. So going back to the city officials, I said, seeing all these things, we need to restore their identity, who they are. A lot of them, they're talented. Like everyone is talented in some one way or the other way. You need to see beyond the substances. You need to see beyond the stench. You need to see beyond the frozen posture. You need to see a person. And I believe this perception came to me still back in 2022 when I was still I went to visit Argentina. And I remember one morning I woke up and I felt this kind of almost heard this. It's like, don't lose your humanity. I was like, okay. And then I saw Argentina actually had the longest shutdown during COVID that any country in the world. Like in 2022, they still were walking on the streets with masks. It was like, you guys are insane. COVID is not a thing anymore. In Ukraine, war started. There's no COVID. But basically, that brings me back now to 2024 when I'm sitting with all these politicians and the religious ministers. I'm like, we are losing our humanity. They're beyond just the person who lives in a tent by the Thames.
Right.
Is a person.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ died for them at the cross. God loved them so much that he done everything to save them. What are we doing? Oh, well, we're going to provide them housing. It's like, it's beyond. Like, listen, it's beyond just providing housing. It's beyond just providing food. We need to restore them to be who they are. Now, how many homeless we have in town? It's beyond the ones that. Now, again, remember what I said.
Yeah. Right.
Homeless. It's not being without the house.
Yeah.
Right.
How many people we have who feel that they don't belong? So now, if we change the approach in our city for the people who are temporarily displaced, and we say, you know what, you are welcome here. When you come, we're going to do everything possible to restore you, to bring the best out of your life, that you will feel valuable, that you will feel, that you are a contributor. You're not a consumer. You're a contributor. Because you see, everything in our life lately in the last century has been about the consumerism and tailored to the customer. But when you are building in such a way for the individual life that he is a contributor to the society, they feel valuable. They feel like, hey, I can make a difference.
And purpose.
You're changing the society.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people speak about that, but it's done not much. I do my part one at a time.
One at a time.
Can I restore one? I can.
Yeah.
And that's basically the solution for the temporary displaced people in our town, is to not only to make them feel welcome, but it's just to bring them back and make them purposeful. Like, dude, like some of them, they're so creative.
I'm sure, yeah.
Like,
for sure.
If you can tell them, it's like, listen, we have this program. Anyone who is artistic, that you want to do some mural,
or whatever
murals
they're passionate about in general in life.
You give them purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
They start contributing to your city. They start bringing wealth to your city, and you become a city in the whole Canada that is like, hey, London is a city of example. They are doing something.
Yeah.
Their population of temporary displaced people are diminishing. So what are they doing? Okay, we're doing this.
Yeah.
So now we can send people and train others to do that, and then we can get rid of the people who are temporarily displaced. Like, okay, getting rid of them, not in a sense of killing them,
Right.
but
Integrate
just
them
make
back
an
into
impact.
society.
yeah, transforming
Yeah.
our nation. Yeah, sorry.
Well, no,
Awesome.
let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go. I want to show you out
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You liked it?
Thank you very much.
so
It's
much for
honestly
coming.
Too
Yeah.
many thoughts.
no,
No,
it's
not at
refreshing
all.
from
It
our
is.
standpoint
Yeah.
for sure. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
for
Paul.
inviting me here.
Until next time. Thanks for listening. See ya.